to church. And we're doing voices and stories. And it's a little smoky today in Revelstoke. So, we're gonna head over to Lindy, I think. Yeah, Lindy in Revelstoke. See you soon.
Welcome to our summer series, Voices and Stories. This is episode 6. In our Voices and Stories series, we're releasing at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays and 10 a.m. on Sundays. They are premieres, so you can watch them along with other people or invite people into your home to watch them together. But we're getting to hear voices and stories from across our region, across our church. Today we go to the city of Revelstoke, where it's a little bit smoky today. We go to the city of Revelstoke to hear from Lindy Silano. Let's go there now.
Waking up from the longest night, fixing my eyes on a new horizon. Joy before me, leave the past behind. There's no turning back, there's no turning back. And boldly I run into your presence, faith like a child, known and surrender. Here in your arms, my shame is unraveling. You make me fearless, fearless. You call my heart out of the dark. Fearless, fearless. Finally free, your spirit makes me fearless. And I was living underneath gray skies. Now I'm dancing in the light of heaven. Grace has found me, brought me back to life. There's no turning back, there's no turning back. And boldly I run into your presence, faith like a child, known and protected. Here in your arms, my shame is unraveling, unraveling. You make me fearless, fearless. You call my heart out of the dark. Fearless, fearless. Finally free, your spirit makes me fearless. I'm alive to praise you. I was made to love you. I'm alive to praise you. There's no turning back, there's no turning back. I'm alive to praise you. I was made to love you. I'm alive to praise you. There's no turning back, there's no turning back. You make me fearless, fearless. 'Cause you call my heart out of the dark. Fearless, fearless. Finally free, your spirit makes me fearless, fearless. You call my heart out of the dark. Fearless, fearless. Finally free, your spirit makes me fearless.
My name is Lindy. and I live in Revelstoke. I'm part of the C3 family here in Revelstoke. In Philippians 4:13, it says, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And in 2 Timothy 1:7, it says, I have not been given a spirit of fear, but of power and love and sound mind. Do you truly believe that, faced with all the things you need to face, that you can do it in confidence without being overwhelmed with fear? I think some people would say no. They know they have their limitations. Others would say yes, but in reality, they've put up walls to block out certain relationships or situations or thoughts. When I first came to church, I was 20 years old and I had a lot of walls put up. I was very angry and depressed and full of shame and fear. And I'd previously been to counseling, a group for women who'd been through abuse, and there was something that the counselor said to me that I just could not accept. She said that because of what I had been through, that I was going to always struggle. I didn't want to believe, even though I had been raped and molested, even though I'd been through physical and mental abuse, I'd suffered through anorexia and addictions, that I was going to live in pain for the rest of my life. I had no idea how it would change, but it had to change. When I first walked into the church, I felt a strong feeling of, you are not alone. And this is what would keep me going through all the work that I was going to have to do to heal. And I was so thankful for grace. The leaders of the church were there for me as I argued and complained and whined and said, well, my life hadn't been fair, and refused to read the Bible and refused to work on things. But they continued to be there for me. I remember sitting at the altar and crying because I looked around me and these people believed that the God they were praying to could hear their prayers and could answer them. And I wanted to believe that too, but there was just so much pain. But that was the day I came to believe in the power of prayer. Before that day, I'd been quite ill. I had daily headaches, daily stomach aches, because life had taken its toll. And there was a whole list of things that I couldn't eat. I couldn't have chocolate, caffeine, pop, spices, pork, corn, so many things, fiber. I could not eat. And after that intense prayer session, I had a little bit of a forbidden food, and I found that it didn't hurt. So I tried more and more and more, and I quickly gained 50 pounds. Well, I did have a whole selection of chocolate bar flavors that I had to try. Needless to say, chocolate is still a little bit of a problem to this day. But now I learned to rely on the power of prayer. And I've heard people say that prayer does nothing, but with action and reflection, it is so powerful. Years ago, I really struggled to do housework. It made me angry. And I prayed about it, and I remembered being a preteen and doing chores with my brother. And my stepdad had strict regulations that we were not allowed to talk to each other while doing chores. And I don't mean the banter about hating what the other one was doing or wishing we were somewhere else, but we were not allowed to talk, and we were most definitely not allowed to laugh, because housework is serious business. And of course this made me hate housework, and especially if there was anyone else around while I was doing it. But just having this revelation of what was wrong was really freeing, and I was able to work through it, and now it's not a problem anymore. It could even be enjoyable. Definitely not my priority, but doesn't have those negative feelings anymore. So going to church really helped me start to work through things, but I found I couldn't talk about things or talk to anyone, and so I agreed to go to professional counseling. I went to Calgary, and I paid $900 for 5 days, 3 hours a day, and it was intense. I wanted to get up and run away, but I had invested in what that time was 4 months of my rent. I know, 4 months rent, $900, inconceivable, but at that time. So I didn't want to give up. So I sat with her and I worked through it. She had a whole list of emotions that were unfamiliar to me, and we helped me try to recognize different emotions, and it really gave me a platform to keep growing. But as the years went by, I found there was always things to work on. It was so frustrating. And I remember sitting and telling myself to stop the self-pity, because you're doing better than ever and you're healthier than ever. But then I found out that I had leukemia. This meant that I wouldn't be able to have children, something I wanted so much. But most of all, I needed relationships. I couldn't do cancer alone. I needed people to help me. Without me helping them or proving myself to them or doing anything for them, I had to just be bored around people. This was a very difficult time, but quite monumental in my relational growth, and probably the only reason just a year later I let my husband into my life. Probably the first relationship I had that started without alcohol. And so, marriage. Now, anyone who's been married knows this is a platform that has plenty of opportunities to take offense and bring up old wounds. And marriage is either growth or bitterness. And I had been attracted to so much in my husband: his work ethic, his forgiveness, his kindness, his servant heart, his patience, so many things that were just foreign to me. They attracted me to him, but of course they were an area of clash later on. And so it got to the point where I had to say, I need to either leave or I need to work on myself. And so I went back to counseling, and I tried to focus on changing what I could change and letting go of what I couldn't let go. And I'm glad that I did this, because it actually broke my perfectionist attitude, and I was able to start actually living life and feeling feelings that I never realized were even possible. And then a few years later, I would probably say was the biggest growth, because I told myself I wasn't going to be controlled by fear anymore. I told myself if an opportunity came up, I was going to do it if fear was the only reason to say no. And so that year I traveled, I tried new things, I met new people, I helped organize events, but most of all, I auditioned for a musical, and I got the part. I was absolutely terrified, but I knew I had a few months to work out the situation, and so I pushed through, and then discovered that the only problem I had each night was after the opening number, I would be shaking so bad that I couldn't even change my own shoes. So I needed an official shoe changer to help me. Other than that, I did it, and I enjoyed it, and I'm so glad that I went through that experience. So fast forward a few more years, and my husband and I tried to take the next step in our relationship and have a family. So we tried to adopt, but the company we went through went bankrupt. So we decided it was time to try to have a child. This was risky. It meant that I had to go off the medication that I had been on for 7 years to keep the cancer away. Would it come back while I was pregnant? Would it work after taking a break? Would I have a baby and then go on the medication and have major side effects while trying to raise a child? But most of all, would I even be given enough time to have a child before being told I had to go back on it? So we prayed that we would get pregnant right away, and we did, and we had a baby girl. So on to the most wonderful year of my life, right? Actually, I hit severe postpartum depression. All the anxiety of wanting something so bad and finally having it, and being really worried that I was going to mess it up. And I didn't know how to be a parent. I wasn't parented. And it was scary, and there was the shock of all the changes of when you have a child. And so I went back to counseling, and they told me they wanted me to go on medication, but I didn't want to go on medication. I have nothing against medication. Sometimes it's necessary for anxiety control or for hormone imbalance or just focusing enough so that you can work on things. But I had proven myself I could do this. And so I increased my relaxation techniques and my prayer and my exercise, and tried to eat healthy and do things I enjoyed, like karaoke. But I ended up overdoing the exercise and hurting myself, and then trying to push through and keep exercising after and hurt myself even worse. This time I gained 70 pounds, but then I discovered something. I didn't need that physical exertion anymore for my mental sanity. I finally had peace. And I'd probably say it was because of my daughter. I looked at the life that I'd had, and the anxiety and the pain and the worry and the fear and the lack of relationships. I didn't want her to have any of that. And so I prayed that my daughter would have a mom who was in relationships and communicating and working out my problems and full of love and caring and hardworking. And as we went through life, and she was very social, she got us out into events all the time, I had to keep going back to those memory verses and telling myself I can do this and I'm not afraid. And I think she saw the woman that I wanted her to see, not by being fake. She knows I have fears and my ways of coping. And she knows that I can get angry, but she knows that I keep living life. And a few years ago, we had a really rough situation that we had to deal with, and she saw me keep my sense of humor and keep my faith. So most of all, she knows that I believe that God hears my prayers and answers my prayers, and that through all things, I can do anything through Christ. And I have not been given a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind.
I searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. Abandoned to praise and treasures of faith, never enough. Then you came along and put me back together. Every desire is now satisfied here in your love. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you. There's nothing. Nothing is better than you. I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. You've seen them all, and you still call me friend. 'Cause the God of the mountain is the God of the valley. There's not a place your mercy and grace won't find me again. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you. There's nothing. Nothing is better than you. Oh, there's nothing. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you. There's nothing. Nothing is better than you. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn mourning to dancing. You give beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only like yours. All the glory, all the praise, all the worship, Jesus. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you. There's nothing. There's nothing is better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you. There's nothing. Nothing is better than you.
Thanks for joining for Voices and Stories. Across this summer time, we are prioritizing gathering together as a church. What that means is every second Sunday, we have set that day apart as a time for us to host people and gather people together. On our website, if you want to host or if you are hosting an event, a gathering, you just head to our website, c3church.ca, to register the gathering so we can let those people who are looking for a gathering know that there's a gathering taking place at your home. Also, when you register there, you'll also have the opportunity to ask for some supplies, whether it be tables, cotton candy machine, bouncy castle, these sort of things to help make your gathering successful. Gatherings are simple. They can be whatever you want, wherever you want, on that day, and include people from our C3 family or outside of our family. This could be heading to the beach and having a barbecue. This could be having breakfast at your house. Whatever it looks like, the priority is gathering people together to reconnect this summer. Now, although we've designated specific Sundays for this gathering, you can also gather at other times. We'd love for you just to prioritize making this a season where we reconnect as a church family. In the month of August, we're going to be having a golf day, and in the month of August, we'll also be having a worship and prayer event. If you head to the website, c3church.ca, you can register for the golf day. The golf day will be taking place in the North Okanagan area, and there will be a fee, obviously, for your green fees. But we will share that information as it becomes certain. Don't hesitate to register so you can be a part of this. Another opportunity just for us to gather together before the fall where we reconnect through our services. If you're watching this live, please don't forget to hit subscribe, to hit like, and to share this on social media so we can engage with other people. And don't forget, if you've missed any of the Voices and Stories, they're available now on YouTube. And again, live Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and Sundays at 10 a.m. We'll see you soon, church.